Here is one of my favorite pork chop recipes. Everybody loves pork chops, and this includes two different techniques. Let's get started with the sauce. The sauce is fairly unique. We're going to start with a little bit of olive oil, and we're going to make the sauce with apple juice as well as ginger. But we got to start somewhere else first and foremost, and that is the old-fashioned triumvirato, also known as sofrito. Onion, white onion nicely chopped. You can use shallots if you don't have white onions. Even red onions will work. We have some celery that we add to this whole mix, and together with that, carrots. Don't worry about cutting it so fine. I'm doing this because I want to impress you by how good I am with my knife skills. But at home, you can do it roughly because ultimately the sauce will be strained, and as it becomes strained, these will no longer be part of what you see at the end. I always like to add here a little touch of salt, and look at the flow that I give from the top. Doesn't mean anything, but it looks good on television. No, actually it does. By having it on a high point, it pretty much covers the whole surface without exaggerating the amount of salt that you put, and it covers just about everything. Why do we put it on? We want the onions to sweat, and in the process, we want to make sure that they don't burn. Cook this for a few minutes, and then the next thing that you want to do is start to put in the flavors. They start to build up the flow. Imagine as you're doing this is a dance, and in this dance, we start out first with a little bit of garlic and ginger. You want them to play together. Together, they're going to say to everybody else, look, this is a party. It's not really like it goes that way, but in my mind, when I talk about it, it gives me this wonderful feeling as if this party is taking place in the pan. Then we need to go with fresh herbs, and this is what we do. Rosemary. Nice, long, beautiful leaves of rosemary on the inside, and already the aroma is starting to pick up. And then we put a little bit of fresh parsley and basil, already chopped up, just to add to the complement of everything else. Let this go for a few minutes. What you really want to see is the onion translucence. Once the onion are translucent, and that's the way you should say it, with the cutting T at the end, you add the rest. This is going to surprise. I know. You didn't expect this coming from me, but truly, you put a little bit of ketchup. It has vinegar and sugar on the inside that makes it quite interesting, but just a little bit for the beginning of color. Then we go with Worcestershire sauce. Oh, I can never say that right. This is the first time, I think, in 15 years that I got it right. And then a little bit of red pepper flakes, just to give it the heat. Keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring. And then there is a new addition, something that we have not seen in a long while. It's a new ingredient that I've learned. You could do sugar. This is optional, depending how much on the side of sweet you like to go. And if you do like a sweet sauce to marry with your pork, this is ideal. Sugar would do. But if you want to try something unique, I'd say a little touch of agave nectar is ideal. What agave nectar does for us at this point, it allows us to give us the sweetness that we want without overpowering the dish. And then we go with our liquids right in here. Chicken stock, low sodium or no sodium at all if you can find it. And together with the chicken stock, we go with apple juice. And that's exactly what you want to do. Do not put any salt. Do not put any pepper. Not at this point. We will adjust for salt and pepper later on. Why do we do it at the end? First and foremost, we want to maintain control in this whole process, and we want to make sure that we decide what happens and when it happens. Come back in here. I'm going to show you how to handle the pork chops. The pork chops. Take a look at what I have. We have two pork chops in here, basically are identical. This pork chop right here is sometimes how you get it at your local supermarket. It basically has the back meat on it. It's got the meat right on the bone. This instead, right next to it, is what I call a French pork chop. Right here it is. I want to show you exactly how to get to this point. Let's get to it. This is what we do. First and foremost, boning knife, very sharp, and don't mess around. I know that you trust me. I'm not going to look up. Do not take it personal, but when I'm dealing with a big knife, I don't want to have a problem. So what we want to do now is get rid of this meat. Is this bad meat? No. Is it flavorful? It is fantastic. Why am I doing this? Because I'm a vain man. What does it mean I'm a vain man? Simply means that when I eat pork chops, I like them to look pretty. I don't know why I feel this way. By the way, when you get with the resilient part, use the heel of the knife, as you see as I'm going to it, and you bring it down all the way like this. Then turn around on the other side. You have another corner over here. Never be in a rush when you do this. Calculate every move that you make, and in your mind, feel the symphony of the flavors that will come. All right, this is good enough just to show you the example of what I've done and why I've done it. Let's put it aside. Now we need to plump it up. What does it mean, plumping it up? Oh, let's take a look at the pork chop right now. Look at this. Beautiful, center cut, gorgeous. Before we put it into the brine, this is what we want to do. I'm going to turn it around this way. First, you put your kitchen twine underneath the bone. You see what I've done? Like this. Then you go around this way. Bring it all the way around. This has to be at least 1 inch, 1.5 inch. Otherwise, with a tiny 1/4 inch cut, it will never work. Look what happens as we pull it in. We make it perfectly round. We force the meat into a shape chosen and designed by us. But why do we do that? First, I love the way in which it looks. Second, it makes it even thicker than what, more often than not, you get at your butcher. And third is a manipulation that allows me this beautiful look that I adore. Pork chops. Pork chops, pork chops. What is the problem with pork chops? I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem with pork chops is that sometimes they cook too much and they become tough. How tough? So tough you can play basketball with them. How to avoid that? Water. What do you mean water? Well, let me show you. Here we have a little bit of water we're going to use for the brine. Put about a couple of cups of that. Then put some sugar. A good amount of sugar. I would say about a tablespoon. Let's go 1.5 tablespoons if we have to. Then we have some salt. And why not put also some pepper? We take the pork chop that we have just cut. We place it inside a bag, a plastic bag. We cover the pork chop, and of course, if you have many, you use a larger one, and we pour the marinade right on top of this. This, you want to close, put into the refrigerator, refrigerator. My English sometimes disappears, goes away, but nevertheless, I like the fact that I'm able to communicate these ideas overnight. Not 1 hour, not 2 minutes, not 10 minutes, overnight. Come with me. I've already taken a pork chop out, which I had marinated ahead of time. Nice and plumpy. We're going to grill it. We're going to grill it on a grill pan right here on the stove. Look at what we've done. A grill pan on top of another grill pan. Why? It retains the heat, it's nice and hot. I've taken this pork chop, and what I've done with this beautiful pork chop, I have oiled with extra light olive oil. Why? This way prevents the pork chop from sticking to the bottom of the pan. You want to let this cook at least for 3 minutes per side. Depending on the thickness of it, you can go anywhere from 3 to 5, depending how big and how thick that is. I'm going to take care of this, finish it cooking, and then I'm going to show you exactly how to plate it. But first, before I do that, let me give you some other ideas. I want to share with you some great beverages that will make the perfect match with this incredible dish. This is the part I love the most. Let's go to the pork chop. Let me show you what I've done. We cooked the pork chop to perfection. As you notice, no longer we have the little rope that kept it together. We cut that off. Remember that sometimes I make a mistake and people at dinner ask me, what are you thinking? Now, the sauce. The sauce, I have strained it. Then I have reduced it to a wonderful thick consistency. At this point, as the sauce is basically ready, before I serve it, I like to put in a little bit of butter and melt the butter right into the sauce. Look in terms of the color, what happens to the butter. Look at the sauce. It's picking up the sheen, the glossiness. These to me are moments that define my joy of cooking. I see the sauce coming together. I know that the sauce is one of my biggest passions, but this is what I love. So when you do at home, make sure that you have this ready. And then when I move it on the side, you don't want to break the butter. You just want it to have it in hands and go. Let's go back to the plating. We got everything under control. What I have over here that we'll start my plating with are some asparagus that I baked into the oven. If you take a quick look at them, you will see that I have the skin on, they're very small. All that we have done, we put them into the oven at about 400 degrees with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of lemon zest, and when they came out, we just drop a little bit of quick sauteed tomatoes on top of it. The next thing that I'm going to use is going to be apples. These apples are fabulous. I just cut an apple. I mixed it with a little bit of onion, a tiny touch of garlic, and I still kept the skin on top of the apples. They are a perfect combination to this wonderful dish that we have. These are the kind of dishes that when I have guests coming over, I get, oh, well, you can hear from my voice. I'm almost exaggerating. And now we go with the king of it all, the pork chop. Look at this, look at this. Voila. And le coupe de grâce, l'ultimo colpo. Il bellissimo, what do they say in Venice? La serenissima, the most serene. This is the moment where everything that I've been cooking all day long becomes, for me, an execution of a dream come true. And that is the sauce. And there she goes, the bottom, slowly surrounding the plate around it, touching all the other ingredients, but not overpowering. Notice how I do not put it on top. I just want it to be there so that when every bite that you take, you can taste it, you can feel it, you can see it. It is an honor for me to have you spend time with me. It is an absolute luxury, a moment that makes me enormously proud. And remember this, when it comes to cooking, when it comes to life, it's all about passion.